Welcome to episode 6 of the Breaking Chains podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Hello. So glad to be here again. This is really cool that we're on number 6. So much to talk about. And like we were thinking about, okay, what is our topic today? And I just had this sense of needing to take it back to the purpose of why we began this. I think it's really important. We have some new listeners. We're spreading our word a little more. And it's really important to help people understand why we're here and why they're listening. And
I agree. I think sometimes you kind of got to go back to the basics.
Yeah.
What's the foundation of why we do what we do?
Foundation's huge. I think that's happening everywhere in our lives. But
Agreed.
So what is it? Why are we doing this? What are we doing?
Well, it's been a journey and a process, but I think the bottom line is that this is helping people create a holistic lifestyle.
Holistic life.
And build around them and their unique perspective.
And what does holistic mean? And I think that's the discussion we need to tap into today. Like, what does holistic mean to me? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to other people? Our director, Chris, did mention at the beginning of this when we were discussing what we were talking about. He said, you need to make sure that there's a notable differentiation between healthy and holistic, because healthy, some people think they're being healthy, and in their world they can be being healthy.
Agreed.
Right? It's all subjective, but holistic is an approach to do things in a certain way. And I don't want to say there's a right or wrong way to do anything. Like I would say, we're on our own journey and we're discovering how to get back to source, right?
Of course.
So what does holistic mean to you?
Holistic used to mean a lot of different things to me, but now it really means almost taking my power back in every way possible.
Right. It's
living a more wholesome life, and that's both physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's becoming more aware of where I'm at, how I'm feeling, what are my pain points, what are my stressors, and how do I start to go more inside myself to find the answers. And I think the journey that I've been on has pushed me into that direction, because there's nobody outside of ourselves who can actually completely know the answers for us. I believe we have to look internally to ourselves for those answers. But living a holistic life is being open to trial and error, to trying new things and observing how you feel about it, and looking at the opportunities and options in your life that can give you the life that you deserve.
I don't want to argue with you.
Please argue.
No, I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue. I do like that approach, and I think that's important. I think that's a very important part of the spiritual aspect of a holistic life.
Okay.
To me, holistic means, yes, connecting mind, body, spirit, and using more of the earth and being connected with the earth, which, yes, self, right? We turn in spiritually and really ask, to be more connected. But holistic is we use more organic things in life, more things connected with the earth in natural ways. So it's like a whole approach, a whole body approach. We don't just take the spiritual element and say, okay, this is the way that things are, just please let it come to me. And we're not just going to take a medicinal way. We're not going to just take any one way. It's looking at the whole body, the whole surroundings. So we're taking a look at our environment. We're taking a look at ourselves. We're taking a look at the things around us. And then we're making a decision for our health, for our life. So that to me is what holistic is.
I don't think what we're saying is any different, though. Quite honestly, I'm saying that to be open to how you feel,
Right.
and that will guide you. So
yes.
you sounds like you're saying that you feel like somebody has to follow a specific protocol
No.
in order to connect with themselves. And I'm saying at the same time,
No, I'm just giving
if you
a
just
more
let me finish for a
literal-
second, just my perspective. If we come from a place of also connecting more with yourself,
Right.
I think you're naturally going to be guided into what you need to do, right? To me, that is holistic, right? So when you connect more to yourself, you're naturally connecting more to your environment. You're naturally connecting more to your body. You're naturally connecting to more to your emotions and how you feel and how specific foods make you feel. Man, you know what? I used to be able to eat this food before, but now when I eat that food, it's kind of makes me lethargic.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't eat that food anymore. I think that comes from being connected to yourself
Right.
in a deeper way. So to me, it's, are you fit? Are you fit physically? Are you physically fit? Are you mentally fit? Are you emotionally fit? And yes, are you spiritually fit? I think those combinations create a holistic life naturally.
Yeah. So no, it wasn't that I was saying something completely different. What I said, and at the beginning I said, yes, that's one element. And then you just put it all in there too. Like you have to look at it all. It's not just going to meditate by yourself. That's a big element of it. That's a big part of it is what I'm saying. I think it's important to continue to seek, like you said, be open. It's because I'm not disagreeing with you. It's a big,
I didn't even say meditation.
no, that going in though is meditating, right? Like when you sit alone.
I think going in is just awareness. You don't have to be sitting in a corner somewhere
Right,
on a
that's
couch
meditation.
in order to meditate.
That's
No, I'm
meditation.
saying- I
You
said
could walk and meditate.
You can walk and just be aware.
You can walk and
naturally.
meditate.
You can eat food, and after you eat a food, you can feel what the food made you feel like.
What is meditation to you?
Meditation? To me, meditation is the practice of meditating. That's sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor, sitting on a couch, closing your eyes and going in.
So you believe the only way to meditate is
No.
to sit? You just said that
No, I believe that is the technical term for meditation
for you.
for me. But that doesn't mean that throughout the day, I'm not in a meditative state while I'm busy doing other things.
Exactly.
But to me, a meditative state is just an aware state.
Okay.
All right?
Can we cut for a second?
Cut.
Thanks. Why are you being so argumentative?
I don't think that I am.
You are. How do you feel?
But
What?
I don't think he is being argumentative. I think you asked him what is that to you, right? But then it wasn't what it is to you, but you wanted him to say what you think it was. That's me as an outsider here sitting. That's kind of like how it feels. I'm getting involved. But it's like you asked him, what is meditating to you?
No, I said, what is meditating?
Yeah, but then
Because he said that's not meditating.
You said first, what is a holistic
I
lifestyle
said, what is
to you?
meditating? Well, yeah, holistic. And I said, I'm not here to argue. I just want to
But that
say
means
something
that you
different.
wanted to argue about
No,
it.
it doesn't.
Why? Because you could have just gave your perspective and you could have been like, well, to me, this is what it is to me.
Right.
Instead, you were upset with my answer.
I was
didn't
not
hit.
upset, but I just feel like you're
What?
just being upset this whole time.
I'm not,
No, he was,
I'm not doing any upset.
He was like, well, this is what it is to me.
This is
But-
my opinions.
Yeah,
I'm staying true to my
He was
opinions.
just like, hey, this is what it is. And I think you really focused on the fact that he was saying sitting. And to you, it's not just sitting because you're like, well,
Yeah, meditative state. And then you just said the same thing that I said. That's meditation is a state of awareness. It's going within. You don't have to be sitting in a corner.
I know.
And then you
I'm
said
not.
this.
But that's to him. That's what
Right.
this is to him. Now, if you don't think that's all it is, right? Because you think it's more than sitting, then that's where you don't have to argue. You're like, okay, cool. So that's what you think. Well, to me,
Okay.
it's also like walking, or it's also
Cool.
this. That's awesome. How meditating to you could be this, but to me, meditating could also be this.
Okay.
Because there is I guess a universal term for meditating.
Can we Google it real quick?
What's
I
it
have,
matter?
I have a phone. I have a phone.
It's your turn.
I just want to know what meditating means.
Yeah, I think as you were trying to discover what meditation really is, his answer was not satisfactory to you, and you were trying to get him to dig because you kept going. You're like, okay, so sitting, and then he's like, I don't know, dude. That's how I meditate. I don't know, but
Right.
but there's also, as he also said, well, you know, meditating is not just the act of sitting to meditate, is a state of mind. So he also wasn't saying that there's only one way of meditating. He was saying that people meditate like this, but also there's a bigger picture to meditating.
To engage in mental exercise, such as concentration on one's breathing or repetition of a mantra, for the purpose of reaching a heightened level of spiritual awareness, to focus one's thoughts on, to reflect or ponder over.
I don't care what Google says.
Okay. But I was just saying, like, and that's just like the definition of where I was going with meditation. You're like, I didn't say meditation. I was like, okay.
Because I didn't.
Okay.
That's the truth. Like, it
going
is what it
in
is.
and reflecting, and that's what I was saying is meditation. I just put a word on a whole description that you did. So I was saying, yes, that's a big part spiritually and holistically. That is a huge part. So I was just having the conversation around what the holistic lifestyle is, as opposed to one element. That's all I was getting at. So like making choices with supplements, like meditating isn't going to lead you to a supplement, right? You're going to go to people that know a lot about supplements. You're going to do research on supplements. So it's going to external sources. It's not just about going in.
So we can move on.
Yeah.
Today, obviously, without the board, it's a little bit different. As the outsider, this is what I get out of this. And obviously, I'm not on anyone's side because my whole goal is for this podcast to be good. I did not, as the outsider, feel that Chris was being argumentative at all. Chris's answer was just not satisfactory to what we were looking for. So in a situation like this, where we are technically live, kind of winging it, because if this was live, you'd be live, there's no like cut, right?
Well, we didn't cut, we're still rolling.
In a situation where it's like this, as you interpret that he is being argumentative, just give him the benefit of the doubt that you're on the same team.
Right.
That he's not trying to be argumentative. Like, as soon as you feel, wow, why is he being this way? Like, be like, wait, I feel that he's being this way, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not. So if his answer is not satisfactory, let me give in then what I think it is, right? So he said what he said about meditation. Maybe it's not exactly what you wanted it to be. Be like, well, you know, that's awesome that you think that, but this is also what I think. You know what? Maybe none of us here know what meditation means. Let's see what Google says.
Right.
Oh, this is what Google says. Great. You know, and I think that attitude towards while we're recording would even make the podcast more like interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like, well, you think that, well, I think this. Well, you know what? None of us are experts here.
Yeah, let's keep this all in. We'll let the audience decide.
I can cut all this out.
No, it's fine.
Just keep me going. Maybe we should take 10 seconds to meditate.
Put your hand on your heart. I think that's important.
All right, so remember, we're on the same team. Everybody here loves each other, especially you two. Okay, cool. So, what does Google say the meditation is?
According to Google, which Chris doesn't care about definitions.
I don't care.
I do this often. He's like, I don't care what the definition is. Like,
Why do we gotta look up every single thing?
but like when I'm having a conversation about what something is, I'm a very logical thinker. I'm way more logical. He's more analytical. But so I like logically go to, okay, this is what it means, and I'm open to like new, like exploring a definition. But like if it's way off of what it is, or if it says something and then you're trying to say it's one thing, then I'm like, okay, no, you're just making an argument up. But it says to engage in mental exercise for the purpose of reaching a heightened level of spiritual awareness, to focus one's thoughts on, to reflect or ponder over. So like Joe Dispenza, who we love, he teaches walking meditations, which are being aware of your consciousness while walking. And it's a really deep way to step into your power while living. So meditation is a huge part of being holistic.
Agreed.
Right? So having some spiritual element to your life, which helps you know that there is something bigger helping you make decisions. Do you think that's an important part of a holistic life?
Of course.
Yeah.
That's why I believe in you connecting to yourself, because I believe there's often times on your journey when everything is not perfectly balanced or symmetrical, right? Like there's moments when you go so hard on the fitness side of things because that's where you are right now. And that's taking you to the next level. And then going physical allows you to handle the mental. And then mental maybe allows you to handle the emotional. And then you're back a little bit to the physical because you're going through journeys in life and struggles in life. And that's why I think just being open to it all up front. I was not open to that up front. I only knew the gym.
Right.
The gym was my escape. My gym was how I dealt with stress and the emotions. And so in my mind, if back, you know what? I'm almost 41 years old. If back when I was 14 years old and starting to work out, I knew of a component of mindfulness or meditation, or I knew had a better outlet for my emotions, I feel like that would have helped me have a more of a balanced lifestyle to begin with. So now I feel like you and I, part of our journey is helping people fast forward to that balanced, holistic lifestyle that we know can give them better goals, better changes, an absolute transformational process that they can go through with that guidance from the get-go.
And the way we do that?
And the way we do that is through
doing it ourselves.
Exactly.
So when I think of like a holistic lifestyle, and it's so funny because the more I learn, the less advice I feel like I can give.
I agree with that too.
It's wild, like, because I just get I've mentioned this in one of the podcasts about like I'm part of like crunchy groups. If you don't know what a crunchy person is, I had no idea until I was 2019. It was 2018. I met my doula, and she was giving me like essential oil tips, like trigger point, and like doing all this stuff. And I was already like super spiritual, right? Like I would meditate. I've done a lot of deep journaling, like deep reading, but there's all these other elements that I was like, whoa, like oils and lighting candles and setting moods and eating certain things to like herbs, what do you call it? What is it? The acupuncture to create certain outcomes. Like she told me to go to acupuncture to go into labor. And I'm like thinking there's all these different elements. And then she said that people would call her crunchy. I'm like, what the hell is crunchy? And then like what is crunchy? It's such a weird word. But as I gave birth and my son had issues and he was having reactions to vaccinations and like severely reacting with rashes, with blood in his stool, every time he got a shot, he'd have a severe reaction. I would go to moms groups, like regular moms groups, and they would come at me. And this is in 2019, right? Like come at me like, it's just it's anecdotal that your son is having reactions from vaccines. It's not the vaccine. There's just something wrong with your kid, right? And so I'm mortified as a new mother, like going to other mothers and they're just attacking me. This is like the mainstream groups. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody please help. It felt like the darkest era of my life. And some other mom came in and it was like, here, go to this group. It's called Crunchy Moms. Yeah. You know, and I was like, whoa, oh, crunchy. I've heard that word before. So I go to the Crunchy Moms group and I learned that crunchy moms are a more holistic, centered, natured approach. Like being crunchy is like doing things to the earth, like from the earth, like making choices as natural as possible. So I'm also thinking there's a difference between holistic and crunchy because sometimes crunchy is super extreme. It's like I'm out to prove that I am as natural as possible, hippie crunchy, and I'm digging in the dirt with my claws and barefoot all the time. And to be honest, sometimes that's not holistic.
Of course.
With like, it's not connecting with our environment.
Because you end up judging others that aren't necessarily doing it.
It's
That's
like,
where I feel like we're spacious people. And what I mean by that is this.
that take up a lot of space.
You and I are able to, we're willing to try things that are tough.
Yeah.
We're willing to go through the experimental phase of something to come to a solution or an answer. And the first thing that we actually want to do is share that information with people to make their journey easier. And so I think the one part of my journey that I've learned, and you said it a couple minutes ago, was that there is nothing to judge because everybody's journey is so unique that there is nothing but compassion to offer people and support wherever we can. And because I believe we are always willing to jump into the realms of the unknown, we're also able to come out with a lot of solutions and answers that can be very transformative to people's lives. Anything from food intolerances to exercise, to anxiety, to depression, to body image, to nutrition, to anything.
Yeah.
Even the way that we, want to educate our children moving forward, not doing public schools.
It's a whole nother element to holistic,
Exactly.
right? It's like, it just grows, it expands. So you think you're holistic. I probably thought I was holistic for a long time before I was actually feeling like, oh, that's not so holistic. And without judging myself too harshly, it's like, okay, now I realize there's just always room to make a better choice, right?
Yes.
There's always room to grow. And what you don't want to do in a holistic journey, or your health journey, your fitness journey, is overwhelm yourself with thinking you need to make a perfect decision every time.
Exactly.
Because then you end up beating yourself up and not living very holistically because you're missing that element of connection, that element of trusting and experiencing. And that's part of...
I think the goal is to be able to make an informed decision.
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. Back to vaccines, right?
Make an informed decision.
Which are we? And that's a big question when it comes to our healthcare. When it comes to how we're taught to view healthcare. Holistic for me, a big part of it is healthcare and how we choose to make medical decisions. And when you say informed consent, it just pings off, right? And this is a little controversial, but I have to go there. When you think about like getting vaccines or getting blood work or getting things that are like, oh, the doctor just orders things for you and tell you, here you go. We've been taught to just say, okay, like doctors are gods. Like, okay, yeah, I just listen to you because you're wearing a white coat. And we have not been taught to question, because who do you think you are? Do you have a medical degree to question somebody over your body?
Yeah. This is why I said early on that I think part of a holistic lifestyle is taking your power back, because
yes.
And because we have almost delegated our choices and decisions and responsibilities to other people.
Everyone.
Right? Like
to the government.
Schools raise our kids, right? The doctors tell us what to take, what not to take. Like the banks tell us how much money we can take out at any given time. The IRS tells us what we can do here and there.
You have to pay
what
taxes.
We can do for our food.
What was my favorite when I showed you a meme? You have to pay taxes on the money you make to buy a house, and then pay taxes with the money you make that you already paid taxes on, and then pay taxes on your house, and then pay taxes every time you buy something with the money you made that was already taxed.
Of course.
It's like, it's a joke. And so when you start really asking questions, and that's a big part of the holistic lifestyle, right? Like asking questions, using discernment.
Yes.
About what's best for you and your family and your life.
I honestly believe that the best thing that anybody can do, all of you out there, is to just ask questions.
It's scary.
And to be open and to see multiple different perspectives. Like if you can do that, you can live a completely different lifestyle. Like that's one thing that I think is so important, that has enabled me to grow and evolve is just by asking questions. Like, does this feel right? Does this seem right?
But like, even when you say that, and me, you know me, I'm a very like outspoken, strong-willed, I appear as fearless to many, but I will say, even now, I could say all of this and I get in a room with a doctor by myself and they're telling me I have to do something. I still get nervous. Like because these days they're kicking people out of practices. They're not seeing you, especially if you have children. Like, you want to make sure your children are taken care of. If you have an emergency, you want to be able to go somewhere. And the sad part is you're shunned sometimes and belittled and made small when you do ask questions. So it's like, it's practicing. You start practicing. And to go back to another.
But that's a powerful statement, because what you're saying is you are aware of the fear.
Yes.
But you still decide to jump into that fear and move forward through it. And that's the part of evolution in itself, is acknowledging the fear, but still stepping forward into it.
Right. And going into that unknown. And sometimes, like, we've talked about relationships in the past, and a big part of it is sometimes asking questions to your family.
Yeah, of course.
And that's a tough one. That's probably the scariest, more than asking questions to a doctor. Like, why did this happen? Or how did this happen, mom, dad?
Yeah.
Because do you really want to know? Sometimes. And it's scary to find out. Another part, you were saying something before, and I wanted to touch back on it, about how we go through waves, right? Sometimes you're in your body, sometimes you're in your mind. We've been on a big, like, spiritual journey, and we were so far up in the clouds where we've had to, like, come back down to reality, right? Like, and I don't want to say we were so disconnected, but it's harder to connect with other people when you're just in you're this space, right?
I understand.
But I will say, I'm in my almost second trimester now in pregnancy, and it's all been hard. Hormones are a mother effer. And I think we need to be very aware in life when there's another element that's that awareness as well. Because if you're so disconnected from your inner self, if you're so disconnected, then you can't even be aware that something else is taking over. It's like a whole nother element, that how far we've disconnected. I'm aware, like, every time, like, I get angry right now, I'm like, or sad, I'm like, this is hormones. I'm aware that it's not my, like, conscious decision. I'm like, I know what I want to be. I could try my hardest, but I also have to let this ride, because it's something that's making me feel this way, and I need to allow it, right? I've been eating like a monster. My midwife told me I need to lose weight. I've been all over emotionally. I haven't been able to work out. So I really feel like, in all my senses, it's hard for me to be in any of those places. But the reason why I'm mentioning that is not because I'm like, oh, sometimes you're just not there and it's okay. It's more of like, no, I know I still have that connection. I know I'm still aware of my health. I know I'm still aware of my spirituality. I know I'm still aware of my body and where I need it to be. At the same time, I need to go through what I'm going through.
You're honoring
and remember
where you're going through right now,
where I need to go again. Right. So that's a big part of, I think, when we talk about a holistic lifestyle, it's not about the perfecting. It's about making conscious decisions, like consciously being a creator, consciously being in relationships, consciously taking care of your health.
So let me ask you a question. And I want to ask this to you for all the viewers out there. There's a lot of people listening to us right now, and
like millions,
and they want millions and they want to start on this journey, the holistic journey. And we just brought up a tremendous amount of topics. Right? What would be your guidance to them on how to start that journey without getting overwhelmed and kind of being in a place of flow to allow it to kind of, uncover as well as it can, because that their life can transform from it?
That's a good question. I followed this guy. I'm so sorry, I don't know his name. He's this cute chiropractor. He's a good chiropractor. And he's like really spiritual, and he like says some things. And he said, pain is an acronym. Pay attention inside now. And I just was like, like, pain is not telling you to ignore. Pain is not telling you to run. Pain is not telling you, make this go away. Pain is telling you to pay attention inside now. Think about emotional pain, mental pain, physical pain, right? It means pay attention. Look at me. Look at me. So the answer to your question, where I'm going is, if you have a pain in your life, because we all do, there's always something pulling at us somewhere, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in our body, whether it's in our social life, right? There's pain. And the easiest way to start living a holistic lifestyle is to look at whatever pain you have. Look at the pain and sit with it. Not just like, oh, I have a pain in my arm, let me go to the doctor. I've had this pain for a long time. Why have I been ignoring? Ask yourself questions first. Why have I been ignoring it? What am I afraid that this is? Do I truly believe that I can heal this pain? And if you truly believe that you can heal your pain, then you're starting the holistic journey. And not healing your pain by going to the doctor, getting numb, getting something cut open, but by saying, I can do this through the earth, through my mind, through help, asking for help and healing.
So you would recommend that kind of like one of the beginning stages of going down this journey is for people to kind of sit with themselves. Sit with themselves.
Sure.
And go inside and look at their life and find out what pain points they're feeling so that they can then follow them to specific solutions.
Maybe they need to sit with themselves. Maybe they finally need to ask for help.
True.
Maybe they've been sitting with themselves so long that they haven't asked a holistic practitioner
Agreed.
for help, a chiropractor for help, an acupuncturist for help. Maybe they haven't asked God for help. Maybe they haven't touched on that spiritual element. Some people are so focused on themselves, like me. I need to take care of me. They're so afraid of dying that they don't realize that they are connected to it all, right? They're not connected to this interweb of oneness. And so if they're just asking themselves, like, what is this? What is this? Sometimes they forget that there's something bigger. Sometimes they forget that there's help ready for them. So it just depends on what their intuition, what that gut feeling is telling them. Yes, listen to your gut and go from there. And also a huge part of this, as I shared with you, like my crunchy communities, each other, a huge part of this is who you surround yourself with.
Environment.
And that's part of the holistic element. It's your environment. It's huge. Where are you living? I will tell you, I had so much anxiety when I was commuting to New York. It's so mentally terrible for you, right? Like it's just fact. Like even New Jersey, like, right? I went to Florida and I had no morning sickness. I came back to New Jersey, I started puking my brains out immediately. Yeah. It's just, there are energetic factors to everything. And that's part of the holistic journey as well. I think just hopping on the train ride of being open and asking questions and, yeah.
Yeah, I think my two most important parts are actually three. It's to be open, like you said, to follow the guidance markers of your pain, like you said. And lastly, it's to ask for help. Yeah. And I think those three components can allow people to go really far in their life.
Yeah.
And complete a transformative process.
And for obviously more detailed information, we're always here. We have so many connections. We've been through this, and this is our mission, to just help people find that starting point. And if we know somebody more personally, obviously we can direct more easily. So if you have any questions about this crazy life we live and you want to get a little more connected, reach out. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, the Breaking Chains Podcast, on what are we on? What else are we on? YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And we are on TikTok. Thank you, Chris. At Breaking Chains Podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.